Hey, welcome to episode 13 of the Fly Forward vlog. I wanted to share with you a realization I came to this week, maybe some time last week, that I am really terrified of miracles. And I made this realization as I spent some time with some scripture that my spiritual director gave me over the last maybe 2 months. Both passages that he's given me recently are about miracles that Jesus performed. And in both passages, you have characters who were terrified of miracles as well. And in one instance, Jesus actually even asked the guy he was going to heal, he was a paralytic. I think he was a paralytic. He said, "Do you want to get well?" And I thought that was such an interesting question. And it made me realize, as I asked myself that, do I really want this miracle? Do I really want to be well and flourish? What does that mean? It might mean something costly for me. So that was one. And then the night that Jesus walked on water, and it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and he's walking on water. As he approaches the boat, the people that were following him were terrified because they thought it was a ghost. But once they recognized him, they still didn't get it. But I think I would be terrified if I saw somebody walking toward me on a boat. And it got me thinking that, you know what? I think I'm pretty terrified of miracles. And it's interesting because last week we launched 3 different groups of Waking Up Gray around town, met some new friends, and was reacquainted with some old friends. And if for no other reason, this book has brought me into the path of so many amazing people. Anyway, we launched several groups last week, and so this week everyone is hanging out in chapter 1 of the book, which talks about hiding. And I thought that was so interesting with miracles and hiding. A lot of times we think that hiding is actually a bad thing, and I really think that we need to hide, and that God provides us a place of safety to hide, because we need to hide. Chapter 1 on page 7 of Waking Up Gray. Here's Waking Up Gray. This is the book I'm referring to. We're all camped out in chapter 1 right now, which means we're looking at what it means to hide and why we need to hide. And on page 7 I write, hiding in God is something that is strung all throughout Scripture. God is referred to with such names as refuge, hiding place, fortress, shelter. Do you know that it is okay to feel the need to hide? Don't interpret your strong desire to stay hidden as something that is cowardice, sheepish, foolish, or bad. He understands our need for refuge, and He has made provision for it. The question that we need to ask is, where are we hiding? So maybe not if we are hiding, but where we are hiding. I think that's probably more important. Something so beautiful happens in the dark, things that we can't see in the hiding. So I wanted to share this. A dear friend of mine who I've known for years, Michelle, we used to work at Vanderbilt together back in the early 90s. I have reconnected with her recently. She is in one of the groups, and she was kind enough to send me some writing that David Whyte did on hiding. And I love David Whyte. He's a poet, and he's written some beautiful poetry that I've spent some time with. And he has some beautiful things to say on hiding. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to read this little passage about hiding. And if you're hiding, I want you to feel safety and nourishment in your hiding. So David Whyte writes, hiding is a way of staying alive. Hiding is a way of holding ourselves until we are ready to come into the light. Even hiding the truth from ourselves can be a way to come to what we need in our own necessary time. Hiding is one of the brilliant and virtuoso practices of almost every part of the natural world. The protective quiet of an icy northern landscape, the held bud of a future summer rose, the snowbound internal pulse of the hibernating bear. Hiding is underestimated. We are hidden by life in our mother's womb until we grow and ready ourselves for our first appearance in the lighted world. To appear too early in that world is to find ourselves with the immediate necessity for outside intensive care. Hiding done properly is the internal, faithful promise for a proper future emergence. As embryos, as children, or even as emerging adults in retreat from the names that have caught us and imprisoned us, often in ways where we have been too easily seen and too easily named. We live in a time of the dissected soul, the immediate disclosure, our thoughts, imaginings, and longings exposed to the light too much, too early, and too often. Our best qualities squeezed too soon into a world already awash with too easily articulated ideas that oppress our sense of self and our sense of others. What is real is almost always, to begin with, hidden, and does not want to be understood by the part of our mind that mistakenly thinks it knows what is happening. What is precious inside us does not care to be known by the mind in ways that diminish its presence. Hiding is an act of freedom from the misunderstanding of others, especially in the enclosing world of oppressive secret government and private entities, attempting to name us, to anticipate us, to leave us with no place to hide and grow in ways unmanaged by a creeping necessity for absolute naming, absolute tracking, and absolute control. Hiding is a bid for independence from others, from mistaken ideas we have about ourselves, from an oppressive and mistaken wish to keep us completely safe, completely ministered to, and therefore completely managed. Hiding is creative, necessary, and beautifully subversive of outside interference and control. Hiding leaves life to itself to become more of itself. Hiding is the radical independence necessary for our emergence into the light of a proper human future. I love that. I just think every word of that is beautiful. I was going to try to condense it and not read the whole thing, but everything in it is just so life-giving. That's from Hiding. It's called Hiding, and it's from Consolations, the Solace, Nourishment, and Underlying Meaning of Everyday Words by David White. He wrote that last year. But I just want to encourage you, if you're someone who's exploring your creativity, to keep it nestled, keep it safe while you're on an exploration. If there are people around you that don't feel safe to handle your creativity, that's okay. It's okay to protect it for a little while. And I would love to have more dialogue with you. I'd love to know who you are and talk more about this. You can go to my website at flyforward.org if you want to click on the contact page and let me know you're listening. Let me know what your questions are. I'm here as a resource for you. So, as always, go gently.